Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. Here from the west coast of Maine in the USA. It's actually the southwest coast, which sounds funny because it's on the east of the United States. But it's where we are on the Atlantic Ocean. And besides the beautiful Agamenticus River, which is the watershed of Agamenticus Mountain, an ancient part of the land formation here on the east gate of the United States. So today's talk comes out of my own journey, my personal issues. But what I'm realizing is that right now, all of our personal issues are each other's. That the more I talk to other people, I realize that what I'm going through, they're going through as well, but many times in different forms. And it's not that I wasn't aware of this before, but I think what happens is when we individually get hit with things that are not easy to deal with, we personalize it and think that it's just us. And so this is what I've been going through since last week. It's been going on for a long time, but my story is similar to many people. I had COVID a year ago, got it, went through the process of it. It was very mild in respect to others, and I bless all of those who have had their lives taken from it and their families, their loved ones taken from it. But I look at it as at this point, it's down to what they call the brain fog. And in my normal rational mind, I would say, well, that's just ridiculous. That's not real. That's imaginary. That's just make believe. Until it started progressing and getting worse and worse and worse, and has left me now where I have moments in the process of writing a book with others, my brain will just freeze. It will lock up, and I have no concept of information coming in or what I'm supposed to respond with. And that sounds bizarre as I do these talks, but these talks come from my heart, not from my brain. And what I've learned in all of this is that each of us are susceptible to much more than we think has happened during this period of time where this virus has gripped the world in its hold. And the process really is not so much about what are we going to do for others. It comes to a place of love and healing for ourselves. How do we shift the energy so that we're bringing that love and harmony and balance within ourselves? And that's sort of this morning's message, to heal ourselves. Debbie, Carrie, Gary, Janice, bless you all. I see you in the sidelines. Thank you. So I want to journey deep within ourselves and talk about something that normally we don't do unless we reach this point where everything starts to crumble and fall apart. And that's what I'm experiencing on a mental level, on a mind level, a human mind level, not on a soul and higher dimensional level, but on just the third dimensional brain mind level. And I ended up going to having a doctor's appointment, and their, pattern is the typical doctor's pattern: is what can we do to relieve the symptoms for you? But knowing that everybody is somehow being affected by this, and there's more and more people than um, we understand going through this. And if you're going through this, this is what it's about: is how do we bring that love and that healing that we send to the world from our hearts, and how do we make time in our day or our week for us to honor ourselves with that love and healing? We've been taught in most of our, or most of my lifetime, that that was being selfish, that you always have to give to others. And I've preached this or talked about this, and I understand that we do. We're always giving to others because it's always being replenished. But what I'm coming to understand is that it's, if it flows through you, it doesn't always necessarily stay within you until we take a different look and say, I'm going to take this time out of my day or my world and for me. And it's something I rarely do. And I don't know how many of you do. So I'm always giving, and we're always thinking about the other person. And then when it comes to us, I'll do that later. Or I don't have time for that. Or we make up excuses of why it's not going to work if we do it for ourselves. So this morning I got up and I'm looking at the potential of what the doctors want me to do is to go on a medication that is works on your brain. And I'm a little leery of that because my brain has been um, rewired, so to speak, through my near death experience, and I don't want to lose that. That's more precious than anything for me, is to maintain this connection. And I don't want to be taking something that might cause that to dissipate. So I was faced with this crisis. And as I arose this morning, I said, well, and I've dowsed and I've asked my spirit guides, and they're all okay with this. But I asked myself, what can I do for what is the real problem here for me? And what is the real problem for most people? And the answer was, you don't take enough time to love yourself. And it was that simple. You don't take enough time to love yourself. And I mulled over that, and I could understand that. But I said, well, it's always coming through, it's flowing through me. And the message was, if we don't set time aside for us and honor who we are as these beautiful divine beings of light and love, then the energy flows through us and we get little trickles of it, and it enlivens us, but not to the extent if we actually take the time to honor who we are, to create a space for loving and healing ourselves. So the COVID has created this giant separation, okay, of humans and from humans from to animals, and all of this crazy separation. And in that space, what's happened is the human mind has had time to run wild, if you will. And so there's normally in our daily lives, we're filled with everyday things, and um, we're not always focusing on ourselves, on, our past traumas or our past relationships or um, past regrets. And we've had all of this time now in this somewhat of an isolation to open those gateways for that to all arise. And many of us are doing well with letting go of what's coming up. We go through the process, we cry, we get angry, and then we realize I can't carry this forward with me, so I let it go. And the wonderful thing for me is it has been going, and it's been going leaps and bounds. But now I'm faced with this brain fog, this inability for my mind to focus on what it needs to focus for me here in this third dimension right now. I can chat with spirit guides, I can talk to trees, I can talk to water, I can have this communication with all sorts of things. But this has become an issue. So many of you, um, and maybe not many of us, you may know somebody that this is happening to. The message today is really to encourage everybody to set some time aside in your day. And I know that's sometimes crazy because of the schedules we may be on, or we may have more time than we know what to do with, and we just go into a funk. But set time aside for you to honor loving and healing yourself. And know that this is not being selfish, it's being fulfilling. You're fulfilling what is needed right now. And this is the message that I've been getting, is that it's time now for us to stand up in the next level of our beingness and realize that we have this power. We have this wisdom that's beyond what's written in books, beyond what scientists are discovering. All of the things that everybody is discovering has already been here. It's been here for billions of years. It's not something new. They're looking at it as new, and the human mind is taking, oh, I can do this with this, and I can do that with this, and the problem is, out of their greed and their selfishness, they're creating a very destructive pattern as we look at what's going on environmentally. And if we destroy the environment, what are we really doing but destroying our outer body? So again, come back to honoring who you are as an act of love and compassion for yourself. Tiny little holes in our schedule. Let's say this is for me, my space. Put them on your calendar. Put them on your calendar. My space, whatever you want to call it. And know that I have an hour here that I'm going to honor myself, and I'm going to bring things into that space that are beneficial to me. Perhaps it's a book that you might want to have read and that's inviting you to read, and you just don't have the time to do it. Maybe it's just going for a walk, that walk you always wanted to go on that certain trail or that certain place. Again, this is honoring who you are, and your body is telling you and guiding you as to what you need. You need encouragement, or you need refreshment, or you need, etc., etc. And that's key right now, is for us to not expect somebody else to do this for us. That we have to become active participants, not just in sending love to the world and having the light and love that we are and sharing it, because that's always flowing, but it's flowing through us and out of us. It's time now for us to take some of that and honor the presence of who we truly are. We are these amazing beings that are here in this moment of our evolution to not just serve others, but to raise ourselves to levels of our own self that we've not had the capability or the time to do. We've always been busy with something for someone else, with other people's issues or whatever. And it's all beautiful. It doesn't mean that you're going to let go of those you love and are dear to your heart, and those things that you do that are really part of your sole purpose here. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to realize that you're more and more a part of it than you have thought. And in that process, the healing begins. And it begins on a very gradual basis, because what you find, and what I'm finding, is that I'm looking at everything that I'm doing, and I'm just looking at it and saying, what is the value in this? What is the value in what I'm doing for my future, the future me? The one who is going to be here after this brain fog. It's going to be after this, what appears to be disability. Instead of wallowing in my thoughts of what am I going to do? How can I get through this, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where I've been for a while now. Some people have noticed it, but most of those are the ones who work with me closely. And I notice it in them as well. So the time now really is for us to make time to love ourselves. It sounds ridiculous. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but make time to love ourselves. And interestingly, this book, The Guardian Gateway by Kim Wilborn, she's been doing seminars for years with people who talk about working with unicorns and angels and et cetera. And this is her latest book that just came out and came in the mail the other day. And I haven't had time to read it because of my brain fog. And so I scan through and I find little passages. And this is the passage that caught my attention last night. It's let me find the quote. Okay. The more love you feel, the more power you are. Think about that for a moment and notice how it applies to your own life. To be a truly powerful force for good in the world, we have to extend the love we feel to include our own selves. And those are the words of Kim Wilborn in her book, who has many different sections and many beautiful, powerful things and teachings from her own journey. But that hit me last night really deep. And it hit home to me as how we are constantly sending love to others. I know I am, and I'm sure you are. And it's always available. And I teach this, I talk about this. The energy of light and love is always present because that's who we are. And so it's easy to draw it through and send it to others. But it dawned on me this morning, how much am I allowing to help me? And I could cry at this moment because I realized that I've been neglecting the most important key part of all of our evolution. Each one of us. Each one of us as an individual entity and being of peace, light, and love is as important as what we do for others. And it sounds silly. Maybe you already know this. Maybe this is my awakening. And that's okay. I'm not embarrassed to say it's finally struck me at a level where to honor who I am with time and care and love and finding things that are going to be beneficial to me and my health and my brain health. Because without the brain to engage with the world is a struggle. And I don't have time to struggle. I didn't come back from death to struggle here. And this is what is being told to me, is to honor who you are in your own heart. And not deny yourself the benefits that you send to others. And know that in this process of sipping the cup of eternal nectar, my guides, in sipping this nectar, what we're doing is we're renewing all of the molecules in our body and bringing them back into alignment. And we have that power, and this is what they're guiding me, is that to go to others and have them offer their medicine and offer their teachings is wonderful. But basically all they're doing is turning on all of those things within you that are already there, and you can do by honoring yourself and connecting yourself to the greater whole of Mother Earth, the universe, and knowing that your entitlement to this is part of your sovereignty. So with that, that's my journey. The message basically is each of us need to create more time to focus on allowing that love to flow through each and every cell of our bodies and to heal all of the wounds and distortions that have accrued over our lifetime. It doesn't matter how old you are. There are some children who are more traumatized than elderly people. So what we have to do is take it uniquely and individually and make that time in our lives to listen to what's coming up. And if it's painful, let's learn to release it. Let's ask for guidance to release it. Let's use that love that we send to others, and by sending it to ourselves, use that love to dissipate all of that distortion, all of that frenetic energy, all of that energy that is being generated by things outside of us in order to be harvested to fuel a future that doesn't serve humanity or any life form on Earth. And we're not in a place where this is going to end. We're in a place where we're being called to individually check in with our own hearts, with our own minds, and work through all of this garbage, all of this suffering, all of this, I'm going to use the word illusion. And I know many people don't like that word. But when we come back to the truth of who we really are, it's our love and healing, honoring all that we are, and deeply replenishing the physical structure with its true divine presence of grace and peace. Grace and peace. When was the last time you felt grace and peace and could sit in it without it being distorted or distracted, or just allowing yourself to be in grace and peace? Now, I know we do this when we're in meditations with others. I know we do this sometimes when we listen to different frequencies of music. And so there are points of time where we can become that grace and peace. The truth is, we're grace and peace 100% of the time. That's who we are. So when we take our measuring sticks and say, okay, if I'm 100% grace and peace by creation, and if I'm the keeper of the keys of the future generation, how much of that am I actually tapping into? And even I have to admit, not enough. Not enough. And that's where we are. That's where we are in this world right now, is coming to the realization that we have far more potential than we have ever thought of. And we've been ridden with fears, and we've been manipulated by time and greed. And we're looking at an opportunity where, as we see in young children, we have young children who are so advanced in their intelligence that it didn't come from their book learning. And we know this. And what it is that there are a generation of us who is opened. And we can't allow the world to shut that down. And it's our responsibility as the keepers of the keys. That's what my guides told me. We are the keepers of the keys to the future generations. And the only way we can serve them is to unlock everything within ourselves. And the only way we can do that is to make time for ourselves. And even though guilt may come in and we feel overwhelmed, I don't have enough time, I can't do this, you do have enough time. You are the keepers of the keys of time. You have that power within you to listen deeply to that inner voice and not fear it, to listen to that higher self, to listen to that damaged child, to listen to that hurting person and love that being. Yesterday in the Global Heart team, we did a meditation where we came in and at the same time sent the love out to the world. But it really was a diving in. And I was asked to guide that, and I haven't done a guided meditation in many years. And when I realized that it's nothing new, it's just different, that it's all the same practice when we come into ourselves, when we come into this vortex of energy that we truly are, this light, this love, this peace. And we allow ourselves to be that without trying to figure it out. Don't try to figure it out. Just learn to recognize it. And in that moment, we find what I call a still point. And from that still point, all potentiality can be achieved. And this is how we create. We create by diving deep into ourselves through all of the crap and the bad news and illness and brain fog and all of that, and realize that we are far more than all that challenges us. And that if we weren't, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. This is the hope. This is the hope of the future. And this is what we have to now reseed within ourselves. And even though we may get overwhelmed because change is at such a rapid rate, pace, or it's like a race of who can outdo everybody and be first, et cetera, et cetera. We have human beings racing to be the first in outer space. And we have people who are starving to death and being murdered. Priorities. Let's focus on what is the best for everyone and bring those two extremes closer together so that the wisdom and technology that can take us out into outer space creates a benefit for the child who is born and may not have any food. We can do this. And the only way to do that is to come inside of ourselves and balance it within us. We are creatures of peace, light, and love. We need to tap into that energy and refill and replace all of the negative images that we have of ourselves and offer the many frequencies of love that we will arise to by honoring all others. And it becomes a co-creative process, not just us doing all for others, but us together, the hungry children, and the world around us that we're exploring. Thank you all for being here this morning. I hope I made sense to some of you. Some of you I may not make any sense at all, and that's okay. I'll scroll down and just say hello from my heart and send you light and love to each of you. And know that we're all in this at some level. And whatever you choose to take from this, the one important thing is to make time for yourself and not feel selfish about it. To take the time to give yourself some love. And that love will help you release the anger. It will help you to release hatred, fear. This will help you to see yourself as a much stronger being than maybe you ever imagined. And you'll say to yourself, I knew I could do that, but why didn't I? It's it's so simple. It's so easy to make time for me because I love me. And that I am lovable. How can you not be lovable? You are love. How can you not be brilliant? You're light. How can you not be peaceful? The chaos is around you. When we come back into that beautiful heart space, we learn, and it takes repetition, repeatedly, dipping in somebody's Wayne, the wellspring of life. Yeah, diving into that wellspring of life, and coming back and realizing that you're refreshed. Maybe everything isn't perfect in that moment, but it should at least be a little bit calmer and more stable every time we take that time to honor who we are and take that energy, some of that energy, and run it through our body to clean what's going on, all of the dirt, the debris, the muck, the whatever you want to call it. And just say, I no longer need this. I know this no longer serves anything that I'm about to do. And for me to carry it forward is only like taking more dead weight to anchor me to where I am. And that my future and the future of all humanity is based not just on how much love I can give to others, but how much love can I hold for myself. So this week, try to make some time. Try to make some time to focus on just a little bit of space where you can find a space. I always recommend being outdoors in nature because nature continues to evolve with us or without us. It's not dependent on us to survive. It's in pain and suffering because of our behavior, but it will survive long after humanity is gone. It was here before we came. We were not the first created beings. So come and find that space, and whatever is going on in your life that you're really struggling with. As I said in the beginning, I'm struggling with this brain fog, and it really has put me to a place where I've had to look at things that I didn't want to see. I'll look at things about myself, look at things about everything I'm doing, and saying, is there a way where I can extract more love to hold within my heart while doing this, rather than just bringing it through and pushing it. How do I benefit from all the love and all the light I'm pouring into the world? I'm not just a conduit. I am a part of it. So thank you, nurturing Carrie. Yes, dear, we are nurturing all of us, each of us, because we are each other. And I know that in the deeper part of our hearts, we're aware of that. We're aware of it. It's just the teachings have been rewritten to not allow us to realize the truth of what they were truly writing about hundreds and thousands of years ago. Because in that moment, if we actually practice and live our lives as to who we are, we're all leaders. We're all coming from a place of peace, light, and love. There's no wars. There's no hunger. There's none of this. It's a great ideal, but it's the truth. And although I may not be in this physical body to witness it, it falls from my feet as I say that. That's an interesting energy field. So with that, I'm going to have to hold my computer. I love this. The energy is amazing. I've done nothing. There's nothing. It's on the stand. Nothing's moved. And stay there. Yeah. Okay. And the whole thing tipped. This is the power. This is the power of the energy. That when we are actually bringing it through in great amounts, objects will be moved. Thank you for that message. That's the power of love in your heart. It's the power of love in my heart that I have for each of you. And I'm now learning to honor myself with. Thank you so much for being here. Hope this has helped in some shape, manner, or form. And if not, if you think it's just total crazy talk, God bless you. I love you. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. Until next week, be at peace. Find some space and time to really dive deep into who you are and what you need to release and let go of. And know that everything within this universe and the multiverse and every realm of beingness is really cheering us on. Until next week, bless you all, and thank you.